book festival that would have gathered 100 authors with 10,000 visitors in our neighborhood in downtown Minneapolis. As COVID-19 hit, we knew we had to think about everything we do differently, especially this festival. While we were disappointed that we wouldn't be able to gather in person, we became even more committed to supporting writers, celebrating new books, and finding new ways to assert the connective power of the written word. In a time of anxiety, we want to offer a powerful event for readers, writers, and booksellers. When we first approached our sponsors, their first question was, what is a virtual festival? And to be honest, we didn't know. Our founding partners, St. Catherine University and Star Tribune, agreed to make a leap of faith with the Loft. With courage, generosity, and vision, they have worked alongside us to figure out what this virtual festival might become. We are grateful to our sponsors and donors. Their generosity is incredible, but it is not enough. We believe it is essential, especially during a health and financial crisis, to offer programs that are free and accessible to all. But that has led to a significant revenue loss. A live event would have included ticket revenue, beer sales, exhibitor fees, and additional sponsorships. The Loft is not closed. We continue to offer classes, fellowships, conversations, support for readers and writers in addition to this festival. We are here to support the literary community, and we ask that you continue to support us. If you are able, please consider making a contribution to the Loft today. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Loft's Wordplay Literary Stretch Break. I'm so happy you're all here. I can't see you, but I'm happy that you're seeing me. I am Poupeh Missaghi, and I'm going to read a bit from my new book from Coffee House Press, Translating House One. But before I do that, I want to thank the sponsors for the festival, St. Catherine's University and also Star Tribune. I'm going to read for 10 minutes, and then we'll have some questions answered. If you have any, keep them for the end of the reading. So I'm going to start from the beginning of the book, Translating House One. And I'm going to show you the first page because it has an image before I go into the reading. So when you open the book, you start with this image. Okay, here we go. I want to start in the aftershock, the aftermath, the afterworld. I want to start with the slippery, the intangible. I want to start with the impenetrable, the incomprehensible. I want to start with the world of dreams. But I will not reveal it all now. I will not tell the whole now, because the whole only becomes the whole in parts, in conversation with the parts, dispersed in time, in space, arrived at only through passage. Suffice it to say for now that dreams matter, that they are the heart of the matter, translated from one plane to another, one language to another, from the conscious to the unconscious, back to the conscious. They remain illegible. They carry the secret. She does not remember how it all began, why and when. Perhaps it was during one of the weekly gallery hops, or as she followed the news of the statues, or on her bus ride the day she went to meet one of the sculptors. Perhaps it all began long before, on a day her memory doesn't even hold on to. I do remember how it all began, why and when, though vaguely. The way I remember the origins of all stories, all books. It always begins with a search. A search in this case for the meanings of what came before the dreams. It also started with an obsession with Roberto Bolaño and the parts about the crimes in 2666. It started in Sila Satterstrom's hermeneutics class in the winter of 2012, in which I drew a tarot card, a 10 of wands, which served as a prompt for writing. I remember that image not as a man holding sprouting sticks and reaping his rewards, but as a man carrying pointed burdens on his back. Outside the window, the city moves. She is on a bus in the women-only section. She knows the city, and she doesn't know the city. She sees the city outside the bus windows, and she reads the city in the newspaper on her lap. The city is disappearing, dying. The city is resisting, being born. It dies every second. It comes back to life every second after. The city keeps reappearing. The city is gaining more presence. Inside her, a very loud silence. The city is disintegrating. Outside her, noises. A map. Create a map before the city falls apart. She hears a ghostly voice and turns around. Nobody is saying anything. I desire for her to create a map that can reinvent itself every time the city does. A secret map, a personal map, an internal map, a map in words, a map in tongues. Today, the city is not what it was yesterday. Tomorrow, it won't be what it is today. The map needs to be continuously rebirthed. New places, new names, new roads, new lines. Like cells, like veins of her body, of my body, of the bodies of the women and men on the bus, of the bodies of the women and men outside the bus, of the bodies in the city making the text. The map of the city is to be drawn with words. The map is the text is the map, the text is the city. But even that will not remain stable. Even that will be forever changing. The text breathes, the text grows, the text decomposes. The city grows and dies and dies and grows. The city decomposes, the city breathes. She turns around. Everyone is looking outside. Everyone is looking inside. Nobody is saying anything. The city is losing its statues. I read about this online. It feels surreal, as if nonfiction is already fiction. I want her to map the city, to follow the trail of the lost statues. The statues disappear. The public spaces once dedicated to their bodies remain void. The city has more space, less space. I want her to find the bronze bodies, find the bodies, but no one can find the bodies. Once they disappear, they are gone. No matter how fast I search, she searches. No matter how hard, the city will remain one step ahead. But what if we are looking in the wrong city, on the wrong map? I desire for her to draw a breath that is a world, that is nothing, that is everything. A map not to show us the path, but to lead us away from the path. A map of the city that is a body sexing, defecating, coughing, biting, spitting, suffocating, caressing, listening, hearing, speaking. A map of the city that is not. What if we're looking for the monuments on the wrong map? What if we looked for the lost bodies on a different map instead? I want us to draw the map that. Traffic has come to a halt. The bus is stuck, not moving, idling. Outside, people have gathered, are waiting. She looks out to see. Other women too. Someone calls out to the bus driver to open the doors. He does. Some leave. Out the front door, out the back door. She cranes her neck. A cow is slaughtered in the middle of the square. She sees a big banner covering several store signs. We welcome a new police mission for social order, it says. We are the store owners. We are they. They welcome the new mission. They welcome the order. They have the cow killed. They have the cow sacrificed. A sacrifice for gratitude, for thankfulness. The city will be cleansed of addicts, vagrants, beggars, peddlers, of the vicious and immoral. Traffic laws will be better implemented. The new mission will improve the lives of the citizens and the city. Better days will come. The city will become pure. Sacrifice for purity. Sacrifice of one body for another. one of flesh, the other of brick and cement and asphalt and glass, of gray and green and red and orange and green and gray and black. Sacrifice as ritual. Rituals need to be carried out in open spaces. Rituals define public identities. Rituals need to have witnesses. They are symbolic, deliver a message to the gods, to the people. What does it mean to sacrifice bodies for a greater cause, to perform rituals to create meaning, to symbolize life or death? The cow is sacrificed in the middle of the day, in the middle of the square. The cars and human beings come to a halt to watch the cow die, to welcome a new era of social order. Bus passengers stare. People gather on the green patch in the middle of the square and stare. The cow lies in the middle of the road. The cow bleeds. The cow breathes. The cow is a corpse. The corpse is too heavy. Shopkeepers cannot move it into a van. Onlookers join to help. Shopkeepers and onlookers cannot move the cow that is now the corpse into a van. They gather. They touch each a corner of the body. They try. They hold on to. They hold their breath. They push. The corpse remains on the road. In the middle of the square, a fountain continues to breathe water into the air. Water rises up and drops down. A tow truck is called. Life comes to a halt before the corpse of the cow. The sacrifice, the ritual, the cow, the people, the cars, together, entangled. The narrow path around the body, kept open to traffic, is now a knot of cars and buses and motorbikes and people. The sound of horns, the murmurs and shouts of humans, the silence of the animal, the silence of the watch. The knot cannot be untied until the corpse is moved away. The passers-by pause for it, then move on. Or they pause for a moment and stay for another. Or they move to the center to see, to understand, and then try to find a way out, or decide to stay a bit longer before moving on. The cow corpse begins to rot square. An hour later, the tow truck arrives, and the driver and the shopkeepers and the men get together, and with the help of a metal chain from the officer's path through the crowd, the truck moves slowly away. The truck mountain, the cow is gone. The blood of the cow dries on the asphalt under the sun. The crows sing and fly away. The trees continue to stand still. And I finished there.
Thank you, Poupeh, so much for reading for us, translating House 1. We'll just have time for a few questions now. If you are watching and you want to ask a question for our author, you can leave it in the comment section if you're watching on social media, and you can also leave it if you're watching in Crowdcast by clicking the Ask a Question link. One question I have for you is, as you started writing this, it's a novel that's really an archive of there's history, there's excerpts from your own dream journal, there's pages that are just litanies of questions that are even analyzing the way that you, the writer, are going about writing this piece. Where did you begin? Was it with the dream journal? Was it with these archives and dossiers? What was the starting point, and then how did it evolve from there?
Yeah, the beginning of the book was with two layers of the book. One, the narrative of the city, which I read parts from, and then the other one, which I didn't get to read from, the archive of the corpses and the killings. So the very first two sections that I started writing were those two. And they came from this desire to, the city layer came from the desire to go back to Tehran in my imagination and be in the city and walk around, move around, be with the people. And the archive, the documentation came from my this urgent need to go back to historical events and be able to understand them better in more detail. And that's why I started doing the research and the documentation for that. The Dream Journal was happening on this side, and at some point it joined the project. And the questions were one of the very last aspects or layers of the book that got written. Yeah.
Very cool, multi-layered. I wonder if you could talk about what other texts, either I guess books, but also maybe films or other types of art or media that you see your work in conversation with.
Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned, Bolaño's books were very important, especially 2666. But in general, a lot of works by writers from the écriture féminine school of work, feminine writing, especially Ellen Sixou, and the way, or even like Marguerite Duras, and how their work was always inviting some openness and some incompleteness to them. And I wanted to experience with that as well and be able to reproduce that. And also like how their works felt so embodied, not just like text that you were reading, but you became part of that experience of reading. So that was like another important influence.
With such a comprehensive archive, I guess, it feels like this book is doing so much. It's both presenting this kind of archive in so many different ways. There's so many different ways in. And then it's also simultaneously analyzing, are there weaknesses here? Are there things missing? Is there more that could be included here that isn't? Because you ask all of those questions within the text itself, does it feel, I guess, finished to you? Does it feel like something that is an ongoing project even that'll continue to influence your future work?
I guess like both complete and incomplete. Like complete in the sense of, I know this book on itself is complete in its own incompleteness. Like the way the questions gesture for the book is, there's no way this project is ever going to be finished because these questions always remain, right? But at the same time, I know that the future projects are not necessarily exactly the same or a continuation of this, even though in my newer works, I'm still going back to like dead bodies, what it means to archive, what it means to witness, documentation, which are similar themes to Transrelating House One, but in different style and with different interests. So in a sense, complete, and I'm moving on from it, but at the same time, I think it's a conversation that never is complete or finished.
Yeah. Well, Poupeh, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks
and
for having me.
Thank you to our audience for joining us for this reading, our literary stretch break. We have some more events coming up this week, so please join us for those as well. And I just want to take a minute to thank our event sponsors, the Star Tribune and St. Kate's, for being presenting sponsors of the Loft's Wordplay. Please give to the Loft if you're able, and you can also buy Poupeh Missaghi's book, Transrelating House One. There's a link on our event page for this, I believe. And you can also check out loftwordplay.org to find more events coming up this week and in the next few weeks. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thanks, Loft Literary Center and Wordplay, and everyone else who is behind the scenes. And I hope I can join the rest of the events for the week. Thanks a lot. Thanks, the audience, for tuning in, and be well. Take care. Bye.